G'day, folks. Talk to Russell Grundy, a veteran skateboarder from Lake Macquarie, and talk about his history, how he navigated his way on all four wheels and where it all started with sponsorship, travel nationally, internationally, owning a skate shop, clinics in the community, Skatepark Design, judging, and some big news that he's got at the end of the podcast about a development that he's involved in that will make great impact for the skateboarding community on a national and an international level. Exciting stuff. Wish nothing best for the brother and the skateboarding community. And if you like the podcast, hit that subscribe or follow button. And we've also got a Patreon page. The link is within the description. So if you want to roll with the squad and become a patron, that'd be great. And want to thank our sponsors, Permobil Australia, the greatest electric wheelchairs in the land. Wouldn't be sitting in anything else but these four wheels right here, and they've got great assistive tech also. So righto, let's get into it. Righto, Russell Grundy, brother. It's been a while, and thanks for coming down to the podcast and willing to have a chat and a yarn with me, brother. Really appreciate it, eh?
No worries at all, brother. Yeah. It has been many years.
Many years between drinks, you know. Life's a bit of a roller coaster, but I'm glad you're taking the stop and getting out and having a yarn with us now, so that's the main thing, man. So, brother, just, you know, like you're always when I was a youngster, obviously, and just seeing like the trajectory that you're on and just with your skateboarding journey, and you're always and being local and just seeing where you got to, and you're an inspiration to me, man, and just watching what you could do on a board. But before we sort of get into where that's led, like where it got you when you're a youngster and, you know, importantly, where you are now and what you're doing and in the community where you're doing a lot of solid work. But, man, just want to know where it all started, like the inspiration and what part of the coast you're on, or you're more up Lake Mac way, or let's just start with where it all started with the skateboard journey, brother.
The skateboard journey? So I grew up in Morisset. So that's the lower end of Lake Macquarie. And, skateboarding was always just, I don't know, a thing that caught interest. I lived on the lake, so I did a lot of lake stuff growing up, you know, fishing, playing with boats and stuff. You know, I enjoy a bit of sailing. It's pretty fun. And just got a new little boat, so I can teach my daughter how to sail. She's
awesome.
Been enjoying it. But, yeah, just... skating was one thing that I could do where I didn't need anybody else. So everything else, you know, where it's like shooting a basketball, kicking a soccer ball, you know, doing something, it always involved other people. It wasn't until I got a skateboard that it was just something I could do at any time by myself without needing anyone ever, you know. So the freedom in that is like what I guess enticed. It like brought me to it, and it's non-stop ever since.
100%. And so, what was your first setup? Was it something you bought or something given to you, or?
Yeah, so my first setup was given to me by my neighbour, Mitch Raven. He was 10, I was 15, and he had got it for Christmas. It was a reject shop complete, so they were like $30 at the time.
Did the wheels even spin?
No, they didn't. So I was already working at Domino's, and it was my birthday. I called up my dad, and I said to him, I was like, Dad, can you get me some wheels and bearings from, you know, Wild Surf Co, because my parents worked in Qatar, so it wasn't far from the shopping centre, Garden City, which is now Westfield.
Oh, Westfield, Qatar, yep.
Yeah, and they had Wild Surf Co there, and just like cheapest wheels and bearings. So it was like, I called the store before I called my dad, and it was like NSK bearings at $12 for a set, $30 for a set of USA blank wheels, you know, and said, can you bring them home and I'll give you the money when you get home? And he was like, yeah, okay. And it wouldn't be something that I guess he would normally do. So I was pretty chuffed at that. Come home, gave him the money and put him on, and that's the start of that adventure. I sanded the board back, painted it, and then, rode that thing for a bit, swapped it to someone else for another complete because they liked the way that my board looked, but theirs was actually a better quality. And then I just kept kind of going from there.
Yeah, right. It's funny hearing those first journeys, like first setups, and seeing what everybody started with, But before I knew anything really of it, mine was, but that was way back. But that was a one kicker, because I was still around. You could still buy those, and I'm glad you touched on that. Just when it's talking about the freedom of skateboarding and what that can bring, as soon as you leave your front door and, you hit the pavement, and just what that can mean to an individual, but how that can manifest and how that can grow, and whether you're doing something on your own or whether you're with a group of people, and just how that it just keeps manifesting and growing, and especially if you're on the streets or on the skate park. And that's the first time, I remember the first time I saw you. It's funny, I was only thinking about it the other day, because it's only when I just started skateboarding too, because there was no Wyong skate park yet, because I was down at Gosford skate park. And then I'm like, who's that dude that's boosting, because you're boosting melons at the time. There were no flips to them yet. But I remember you were just like where at Gosford skate park, where you sort of had those small sort of rounded quarters with the sort of semi-bowl sections in them, and just boosting down the rolling and then pumping the melons up and just snapping those. So that was my first memory of you. So seeing those, and then obviously the next time was you seeing all these flips and other stuff sort of sucking up to your hands, like kicking those out. But once you started, and it's interesting too, because you're seeing, like, obviously skate videos, and that's a major prominent situation, and inspiration to youngsters or adults or adolescents when they're starting to see what's possible. Because there was no bloody, YouTube and all this shit now where you can just, want to see a kickflip, how do you do it? Bang, So it's either learning off your peers or, what you can see in a skate video. So what was your inspiration, whether it was local or whether it's some of the videos you were seeing? Because everything was coming from the States. So where was your inspiration coming from?
And so I would guess my inspiration was coming from the local guys in Newcastle. So I'd catch a train in there as well. And you'd see Blackie and the Goulden brothers absolutely killing it.
Oh, the three brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but also just hanging out at Newcastle Skate Shop, watching the videos that they had on the TV and things, like while you eat your lunch and things like that. They used to have a lounge and constantly playing videos, and that would be the hangout when I first started, before I had any videos. My first video was Rodney vs. Day One.
That's a solid video.
Yeah, that one.
Straight off the bat.
That was a good one. I watched that thing till its death. That thing, rewind, play. But then that was what I saw skateboarding as. So seeing that high technicality of skating and not knowing much of any other background, that was what it was, you know what I mean? So it was just learning that stuff, and things got really tech there for a minute.
Tech, dark slides, Primo slides, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I was I definitely like the way that Day One skated the most out of the two. He was my favourite. So, tray flip nose grinds and all sorts of things. And I remember because tours used to come through a lot more back then.
Especially at Newcastle,
Yeah.
a lot.
And there was a Black Label versus Deca tour.
I was there.
that was like a pinnacle for me because you got to see Day One and those guys and, just hitting the local up. Never been there before. Straight into it. Just amazing. Blunt kickflips on the half pipe.
That's exactly what I remember. That's what stood out.
Straight away. It's like, how?
And easy, first try, boom.
Yeah.
And he's only a little guy, but power.
Yeah.
But power and finesse,
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
insane.
like power and just how easy we'd make stuff look,
Yeah, that's it. And had a few interactions with him over time.
Day one.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
just to
right.
see that his trucks are that loose that you could shake the board and they're just like this. It just put a whole nother level to those manuals, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even understand how to skate trucks that loose. You can shake it and the wheels literally will hit the deck. And you're like, how?
That's probably why his ankles are so strong, and his longevity. You know what I mean? Because you got to have supreme balance, man. Like if you're gonna have your trucks that loose.
Yeah, that's it. He's so onto it. It's insane.
Yeah. So you took a lot of inspiration from because you're seeing this dude, you've watched that to the death,
Yeah.
and then seeing these guys on tour and seeing the rawness of Mike V too, like boosting up. So what did you say? You took a lot from that?
Yeah. Just watching how they would skate the parks that, we would skate all the time, seeing if there was any kind of difference in the way that they would session the park, because that's always a good thing when pros come to town, is they've got a different eye to what everybody else has, and they'll hit things that you wouldn't even think about, But Newcastle, that was one that, because the park's pretty linear, going back and forth, there wasn't a huge amount of difference of the way they would skate that park, but it was good to see those guys ripping.
Yeah. Rough terrain too, the old Newcastle Park.
It was. Now it's a lot better.
Yeah, okay. Because I'll ask you a bit about that later. So when we start getting into different skate parks and whatnot. So you were skating a lot with those three brothers up there and sort of learning a lot off those guys? Because I remember there was a mix of, because those three brothers had different styles,
Completely.
but they were boosting, they'd do a mix though, like where they were tech, but there was a lot of grabs too, like Benny Harners and all sorts of stuff as well. So that was similar with you, yeah? Because you were like airing and doing a lot of grabs and whatnot, but then you're throwing flips and other things into the mix as well, yeah?
Yeah, we all had our own things. They all skated differently, but then they all had the similarities. I saw Steven the other day and Jamie just recently. Now the Newcastle Park is there. It's bringing everyone out of the woodworks.
Right, are they getting back into it, are they?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Jamie's always dabbled. He's always sort of, every few months we'll come back through and have a session and throw some huge airs and that, and it hasn't lost it.
Yeah, right.
It's not where it was, but it's, that just give him a couple of months or whatever. And yeah, it's insane what muscle memory can do.
That's it. Just got to find your feet and balance again, eh?
That's it.
Yeah, it's nuts. But yeah, so things are obviously different now, but back then, like it was a lot of sponsor me tapes and all that sort of stuff. So before you started racking up a few sponsors and all that sort of stuff, so did it start out with you sort of, getting the confidence and thinking, yeah, I'm at this level? So did you have a sponsor me tape, and who'd you throw it out to if you did have one?
I didn't make a tape until I was already writing for people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I
That
only
was
ever
good.
gave it to like hardcore, which did Globe and all that. But it was just like kind of looked
They were
over.
distributed, weren't they?
Yeah,
Hardcore.
yeah, yeah. So they distributed heaps of brands, but ultimately they're owned by Globe Shoes. And at that time, it really wasn't anything because it was like the way that we edited was you put their VHS in and you had to press, pause, record on the
Oh,
little cam.
when you're editing the
Yeah,
bloody
it didn't
thing.
have a computer to do all that stuff. It was literally like pause, record from the cam to that. Find the trick, put it in. Yeah, no editing software whatsoever. Yeah, it's, I got sponsored me from places like being there. I got on Billabong from being at an event at Tarrant Point.
Oh, Sydney. Yeah.
Yeah, Vertex. Oh, it become whatever it was after that. It wasn't Vertex. It was and they called it Snake Pit. I forget the name of the place. Yeah, and then from there, World Cup did a bunch for us, and I'd been to Tampa and stuff like that. So all those kind of little trips helped me get on people. They just saw me,
Yep. Yep.
saw that I didn't ride for anyone, and yeah,
So who was the first big one? Was it Billabong, was it? Or?
yeah.
Yeah.
That was my first big one.
Because were they only starting to get back then? Because obviously where it comes from, like with surfing and whatnot, but was that only new with skateboarding back then when you got on?
They had dabbled through
Because I know Buggy was on it back then. Yeah.
Yeah, so they did dabble through the 90s and things and a little bit in the 80s. They started in 1973 and they went public in 2000, so become a corporation.
Oh, is that when they did it, 2000?
And then that's when they just started like, all right, we're going to make a whole skate, like, section type of deal. And they were just pumping heaps of money into skateboarding. And it was funny because they knew that they weren't going to get this huge, like all skaters buying Billabong. They understood they were a surf company. And essentially it's a tax write-off for them, being so big and being corporate. They just, were funding so many things and it was great. It was a lot of adventures, a lot of good people I met along the way.
Good team?
Yeah, it was a good team.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. I just went from, boy from the bush to my first demo was with like Bucky, the Pappas brothers, Ali Cans from the UK.
Oh, yeah.
Like just heaps of heads. It was just, I just got on Billabong and I was 17. I turned 18 after I started riding for him. And I didn't have money to go to my schoolies in Queensland. And the first demo that, they were having a demo with all those guys at the Gold Coast during my schoolies and flew us up there. So I got to actually do my schoolies, but in a different way. It was like 10 days, everything paid for. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
Mix of schoolie skating and everything in between.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of debauchery.
I didn't understand what I was getting myself into at all.
Yeah.
It was gnarly.
And what was the culture with those older guys? Like, what was the scene like hanging out with them? Were they pretty wild or?
Oh, yeah. They were like late 20s at the time, You've got people that were at the top and just super gnarly. Yeah. And I just wasn't ready. Couldn't think of like anything throwing me into that sort of scenario.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but it was a lot of fun.
And they looked after you, Billabong, because they're a massive organisation. So from what I could see, as an outsider, it looked like they were looking after you. Like,
They were like anything that you wanted to do, were just like helping make it happen. And no, very thankful for my time with them, that's for sure. Like I said, a lot of good people that I got involved with, and they definitely supported anything they had to do, and helped make it happen.
yeah.
So it's like, can only be like grateful for things like that.
And so what did it open your eyes up to? Like, obviously, say, you're going from boy to the bush, you're on Billabong, you're getting with some of these pros that you've seen for years, like if you've seen them on tours or if you've seen them in the videos, and now you're starting to travel and whatnot, and they started pushing you overseas as well, like with some of the tours.
Yeah. Within a few months, they'd sent me to New Zealand, and then from there, I just started going to different countries and things. Like I said, I was able to go to Tampa in 2003. That was awesome. That was a good experience.
And let's bring up that photo, Mark, Mr. Mark Charette here. I want to bring that up. So that's Tampa, yeah?
Yeah.
So talk
Tampa,
us through this. Like, that's a huge deal to any sort of youngster coming up through the system. So what was that bloody experience like? Because it looks wild, like with the pros, all the AMs over there, and the guy that what's the guy that owns the joint over there?
So back then, it was like Ryan Clements and Brian Schaefer.
Yeah, doesn't Brian Schaefer still own it? No.
Yeah. I heard rumors a while ago that actually Lil Wayne bought it out.
Really?
Yeah, so I do believe that he's the current owner, but it's still like random things. But I'm not 100% on that. It's just what I've heard on the grapevine. Like, yeah, Schaefer still is the face of the company.
Yep.
And still has a lot to do with everything, because if you're someone that's going to support that, of some stature, like the person we spoke of, he doesn't want to sit there and run everything and build the park and all that. You just want it to,
That's it.
go as it does.
Funnel some dollars in it and have old mate that's run that forever.
Yeah. Just keep doing his thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that was like I said, I don't know how true that is, but that's what I've heard along the way.
It wouldn't surprise me, because it's cool to see his involvement in skating, you know, when you've seen him, if it's...
He loves it.
Yeah, mucking around at the barracks.
Yeah.
Or...
He's got his own little private park too, doesn't he?
Yeah. I've got it's funny just thinking of the barracks. I got a piece of that, hey, when they were dismantling the whole thing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And I think it was a 10-stair rail, because they were cutting it down. They were selling off pieces of it, but it had to go into a drawer, so you didn't know what you were going to get or who was going to sign it. And like the amount of people that were in there, I was hoping I was going to get the Costin one, because he was an inspiration to me, Costin, his style, Eric Costin. But it come through, and it was a bit of the rail. It's cut out and it's set in epoxy. It's got a light that comes through it, and it's got Sean Malto's signature on it.
See, that's awesome.
So I've got that on my desk at home. So
that's legendary.
Yeah, it's awesome. But it's going to be interesting to see what they go through with their next steps with the barracks, because I heard that, it was a lot of money for rent, especially if you're looking at a place in LA. Everything's bloody expensive these days.
Yeah.
To rent out, whether it's a house or a bloody commercial property. But talking about skate parks, because Slam were looking after you too, yeah?
Yeah. Part of that since the start. So, yeah, Richard. Richard Paul.
Yep.
Absolute legend, supporting the local community for a good couple of decades.
Yeah, 2002?
No, it was, it would have been 2001.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right when I was spending a lot of time with you guys.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you're down this end of the coast. And
Yeah, I was doing marketing at Wyong TAFE.
yeah, right.
So that's why you'd always find me at the skate park.
Yeah, okay,
And then
that makes sense now.
And then we had those late nights going for drives and going looking for the indoor park that we heard was getting built.
Yeah. Because was it Punkit that was involved with the designer slam back then and trying to help build the ramps and what was the go with that stuff back there?
Yeah, he's Paul Carey's had a lot to do with designs and making things happen with indoor skate parks and outdoor skate parks over the years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive, but it was good too seeing the tours that were coming through there because my first tour there was Osiris, so it was seeing Canton Russell, Josh bloody, what's his last name? And he jumped down the insane amount of stairs in the storm. Josh Casper. Yep. And seeing a lot of those Osiris guys. So that was a bit of an eye opener. Yeah.
They're gnarly.
Yeah, and it was a good spot, and it was good seeing the development of some of the youngsters coming through there too. So you were a part of the team at Slam here at the time?
Yeah.
And Rich was looking after you and all that?
I was the very first team rider.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, just that all came to fruition because I was shooting stuff. I was just starting to get, magazine coverage at the time, and I got my photographer to come down and we shot some stuff to do a kind of spot check that would be for magazines. And then Richard was just like, hey, do you want us to sponsor you? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. I remember the moment.
Yeah. Nah, nice too, because it was him and his wife that were running that joint.
Joe.
Yeah. Times have changed though, that's for sure, a lot with the skate park. And did it change much when you were riding there, or trying to develop the park, or did you have a say in its design?
Helped design a few aspects of it over the years. Yeah, got involved with that. That was pretty fun. That was the first place that I got to actually play with designs of skate parks.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's obviously evolved in other things, which is great. But so were you still getting, when you were a team rider, getting into a lot of comps and stuff like that around the way, and you were still with Billabong at the time?
Yeah. I was on Billabong before I started riding, before Slam was a thing. So
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah. No, I'm glad it's still going.
Yeah.
The skate. It's just good to have a local skate park because obviously Wyong's not there anymore. That's turned into a bloody car park for, I think you got the police station across the road now, so I think it's just a car park for these guys. So there's nothing there. So it's either Batto Yard or there's small little things here or there because you don't have Lake Haven anymore.
Yeah.
That was a solid park.
That was some fun.
That was good. But, so you only got Slam now. And, I was talking to the last owner that just sold it because I was looking at buying that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I was getting pretty antsy at, coming close, thinking I'm going to pull the trigger on this. And there's obviously a thing I was talking to him and things that I've looked at in the back end, and some other people came in and got it sorted. But I was, I really wanted to get my hands on that. But there was a lot to it though, and what's involved. And
yeah, there is.
There is. And obviously being a business and the feasibility of it. But I'm just glad the longevity of it's still going, for a lot of, not just kids, but adults and the development of it, because now skateboarding's not just what it used to be, and sort of some of the stigma that it would bloody carry too when we were younger and just, getting kicked out of shit and destroying spots and all that stuff, because you can't go into schools anymore either because they're all boarded up, and you're either getting kicked out by security and all that sort of stuff. But now where it's more channeled as a sport, it's good that it's still you're an individual and the freedom of that. And how does that feel? What you gained from it back then, but still what you feel now about skateboarding, about being an individual with the freedom and just what it brings to you. And now that you've got youngsters and what you can channel through either your youngsters or just people that you teach, and how does that make you feel?
The individuality of it, individualism, it's still there for sure. As it being seen as a sport now, I'd see that as is another branch on the tree of skateboarding. I don't think that it's anything but growth and something else. So I think that everything is still where it is and what it is, and it's just another part of it. And if you see people chasing certain avenues, that's what they perceive skateboarding, and that's what they want to gain out of it. If they want to just go down, the route of the street skating and trying to get clips and photos, or if they want to, go the competitions or the Olympic sort of way, there's just more options these days. And more ways to express yourself. Yeah, it just depends on how you look at it.
And because it's a shame, it's a shame that a lot of the schools are closed off, just the street skating aspect, because there's a lot of parks now. But what do you see that's different now compared to back then? Because to me, it was more street orientated.
We didn't have facilities. We didn't have the ability to, like skate parks didn't have this stuff. So it's like now you can go to a skate park and learn all your stuff on whatever rail, Where for me, the first rail that I did a kickflip board slide on was the handrail out front of Wong Station.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you just didn't have like the things.
Yeah.
So you had to resort to doing it on the street.
And that was a shit rail too. It was like just, you'd kiss it. Because that was pretty high and there wasn't many steps,
No, but it was something.
Yeah, it was something, yeah.
Yeah, you had to learn somewhere. But they just have more ability to be able to further it, take it more. There's always going to be progression. There's always going to, things. And it's just a way that, like I said back then, you would learn stuff on the street because you weren't able. You didn't have the facilities. You didn't have, the places to do it. So that's just where these things were in their natural habitat. Where I think that's going to, unfortunately, be lesser because of the more facilities. People will go and learn the trick now at skate parks, get it dialed, and then go take it to the streets for the footage. It's like before we had to learn it in the streets.
100%. And it's just so different, obviously, because you can just, it's almost like you're a machine, like getting it dialed in at a skate park because of the terrain. It's smooth, the type of rails compared to, rough terrain on the streets, and then that can be a whole nother ball game and throw you off. And what you're landing on, that's going to grade up the skin, But and that's the other thing that, what I got from skateboarding, just the amount of slams and falls, but, just how that toughens you up, just how that can build your mindset. Because the amount of shit that I broke over the years, and just doing basic things too. That's the things that it almost felt embarrassing, because the things that I broke stuff on, it wasn't big stuff that I had tried, just simple stuff, but the way that you'd fall or do this, It's like, come on, you know.
A lot of it is like when you kind of take your mind off the trick or something for a split second because you're like, I can do this, you know, and this is small and I've got it. So you kind of don't think for a second, and then that's when you hurt yourself. I noticed. So you got to always stay focused, and then there'll be less things going wrong. But yeah, a lot of me, like one day I rolled my ankle. I was trying a flip trick going off the park, and I was leaving for X Games in New Zealand the next day. I was just like,
Oh, you're going over there to compete, yeah?
yeah, the next day. And then I was just rolling off the park, and I was like, I'm trying to barrel flip or something, and just rolled my ankle super hard. I was like, all right. Then I had to compete with strapped up ankle and blah, blah, blah.
Still went through with it?
Yeah, I got second.
And you still got second?
It was funny.
Perseverance, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad.
And just looking up the elders too, because, like, and I'm just thinking, it's funny too, like the roller coaster of life, you know, and just someone that, and I'm just thinking, like, you know, growing up, just someone that was so good and so smooth. Like, I'm just thinking of Jamie Fletcher, and yeah, just a roller coaster of life and sort of where he's at now. Do you still hear anything about him or?
Yeah, the last thing I saw was a video on the internet, and he was like dancing to a busker, and it was in Wollongong, and someone wrote something about, you know, talking about ice, you know, just saying like, oh, you know, drug addicts or whatever, and I'm like, and so many people just started writing on it, like, you know, it's a sad story, Fletch. You know, he, for those who don't know, he's an alcoholic and, you know, experiences like intense alcoholism. And when you get to a certain point of it, I do believe there is, when it comes to, you know, so much alcohol over such a long time, it starts blowing your brain. Mm-hmm. And you start to show characteristics of other substances, I guess, but it's not really. It's just alcohol. Not just alcohol. Alcohol's a poison. So that story is more so of when people get hurt, instead of working on their body to get better. Like, so the last thing you should do if you hurt yourself, in Jamie's story, he broke both his legs. He was
in Manly, yeah.
He was
coming
racing
down a hill or something.
Yeah, and a car was coming up the hill. And they were racing. He was on DC at the time. He was at the top of, you know,
killing it.
Yeah, absolutely killing it. Everyone loved him. It was amazing. You know, he was racing someone, cut a corner, car was coming up the hill, boom, hit it head on, broke both his legs. And what a lot of people will do, especially with the skating and having such a high stature at the time, is when you're hurt, you party, you know, and you're drinking and you.
That's just the culture of it.
Yeah, it's taking substance or whatever. But that's when you should actually look after your body the most, you know, because you're healing. And if you get into substances while you're hurting, you don't heal properly, and it's harder to get back on the board.
100%.
So, and with that one being such a long healing process, and it just adds to the party with some people, and also, like you're saying, that you know, what you're surrounded with, it's very hard to say no. But you really got to think of like what you want to do. So anytime I'm hurt, you won't find me out drinking, because alcohol thins your blood and it's not going to heal me as fast. It's going to take me longer to get better. And I'm not going to be at 100% when I get better. It's going to take me the longer process. So I'm better off just staying away from anything, healing, and then when my body's at 100% and I want to have a drink or whatever, then I can, my body can react in a way that where it can repair itself fine, because after we drink, it's actually taking a toll on you.
Mm. Yeah, it's like the party hasn't stopped for old Fletcher.
Nah, and
And like you can grab anyone, man, like if you go, it's like anyone, if you go deep into it enough, but it's just the culture of things too at the time, because this is this is a fair few years ago, and it's,
yeah,
it just kept going,
he's definitely a person I looked up to when I was younger. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, well, for what it is, I hope he's well and safe. That's the main thing, so... But, substances and shit like that, it can grab anyone and drag anyone into a dark hole, and sometimes it's not so easy to climb out, and if you can, it's a good thing. But, it's a good thing to ask for help too, because people get shamed out and don't want to do it, and, that's when depression kicks in and they just keep drinking or doing other shit, and it's just, like I said, man, the party doesn't stop, eh?
Yeah, and that is it. When we're in those dark times, we'll say it is like depression or whatever. You don't want to talk to anyone, and anyone that does reach out and being like whatever you like, you just kind of push them away as well. You're like, because I don't want to put this burden on you of what's running through my head at this time, and it's all that. So I see suicidal thoughts is a way that your brain is trying to incite change. So how does your brain incite change if it's not happening? If it's not happy with what's going on, It's got to show you images of killing off your old self, so then you can be reborn. And with that, then like a new you comes out of it, like caterpillar turned into a butterfly type of deal.
Yeah.
You go into this hard and still state for a minute before you become this. You can fly away and all colourful and shit. But I see depression is and suicidal tendencies is a way to incite change. And that's what your brain's trying to do, because how does your brain incite change if you're so stuck in a rut? It's got to give you some images of something. You can't sit there and picture yourself on top, because you don't understand. There's no path to get there, and the path that you're on, because you want to you want to stay on that path, because that's the nature of the beast. Is people doing what they know. It's actually stepping outside of your comfort zone in that moment to be able to grow and learn and move forward. So it has to do something to incite the change.
Yeah.
Because sometimes change is needed.
100%. Change is needed and it's inevitable. Like, that's the thing. Like, say myself, like if things get, because there's things that I deal with, and like I'm always going 100 miles an hour, keeping the wheels turning, but like everybody, dark days sort of come here and there, and dealing with certain shit, if it's just general life, or, I've been a quad now for 15 years from breaking my neck and whatnot, and, if there's down days, it's just sort of trying to let the pieces shatter, and then just trying to, pull them back together and soldier on. That's how I deal with it.
What you've done with your scenarios, it was amazing. It's like not everyone is able to do that, because they just don't have. You have that passion, that drive. It's so good to see. Like, I'm stoked that you got all this happening and you're doing your thing. Like,
Appreciate it.
nah, man, I'm psyched for you. Like, that's much respect. That's for sure.
Yeah. I appreciate it, bro. It means a lot, eh?
No worries, brother.
Just got to keep these four wheels turned. Just different four wheels these days.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But, and that's what's important. Like, it's just finding different ways, different avenues of how you can change and adapt, because shit gets thrown at you whether it's a major accident or might be just something minute, but how do you find a way, you know?
Exactly. And it's finding the way, and it's coming out, and it's doing that. And it's like, you know, you're a prime example of being able to do that, and just, you know, showing yourself. You're not limiting yourself to things. You're not like, okay, this is what I've got now, and I'm stuck. You're like, I can do these things. I got this stuff to do. You know, you can spread message, and that's very honourable.
Yeah, just got to have a crack and, you know, share the love. That's what you got to do, man.
100%.
100%. You know, and I hope the best and want to see the best in everyone. And, you know, and life is a roller coaster ride for everyone, and it takes everybody in different ways and shapes and forms. And yeah, it's a tricky thing, that's for sure. So, but yeah, so you got to travel a lot through the States and whatnot, and and I want to go back, and before I go into that, because I was just thinking that it just triggered, and it was interesting to see, because I did watch an episode of Vice and seeing the boss, like Andrew Reynolds, and seeing, you know, because when I was young and the piss drunks thing and everybody on the piss and all that sort of stuff, and because it was that culture, because we're seeing these Americans and PD and all this sort of stuff. But then it was interesting to see that you got this guy, he's young, he's got his own skateboard team, he's running the show, he owns a company, he's doing well, he's at the tip of the spear, and then he's starting to realise just how much grog and everything else is just fucking him up essentially, and just where he can't, because he was saying, and being honest about it, he's pretty much a 2-3 beer screamer, he's doesn't have to drink much, and he just starts blacking out, and he's like, well, you know, I've got a lot on the table here that I've got to take care of, and I've got to pull my shit together, because it's not just him that he's got to worry about. There's a lot of other sort of avenues and individuals that he's got to take care of, and where the dude's been just sober for years. So it's good that if people either just cut it out, or even if it just gets slowed down, you know what I mean? If it's being more responsible. And it's interesting to see someone like that just didn't just keep falling down that dark path, or some people just keep going, bloody old Dustin Dolan. Is he still cranking or what?
Yeah, he's still doing his thing. He's in Europe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing there. So when it comes to, if we're going to look at the boss, it's all about finding yourself. So, you know, when you're involved with skating and things that you've been doing for so long, and you're growing with it and you're changing, and then everything you do becomes marketing. I think no matter what avenue he took at that time and pushed it, people were going to, you know, watch it and think it was awesome. But that was a time in his life where, you know, that there was probably some other influences, people, music and things like that. You know, looking in the history of musicians and all sorts of things and the way they do, and then
getting on it and partying.
Relating it to skating and things like that, because that's what a lot of people do, is they look at their heroes and they research it and they kind of look into it. So they try to follow the same path where they're like, oh, they're in a good place, I can get to that. But we're all our own, and we're all different, and we all have our own journeys. And we might think things are cool because we take influence from certain people. But then we got to look at what we put out there. In that scenario, he was a huge influence on a lot of people over, you know, quite a broad area.
Yeah, the bloody world.
Yeah, exactly. And the responsibility of that, you know, doesn't really hit until you understand where you're at. Because so he had to find himself, find out kind of what was going on, and then realize, oh, wait on a sec. he probably interacted with a few people along the way and was like, these people living their lives from the way that I am. So I need to change influence. Like I need to smarten up a bit, because this essentially isn't me. It's what I was into for a broad period of time. And if we look at, things like the brain, so the prefrontal cortex is your decision-making part of the brain.
100%.
And
it's not fully developed in males until you're 25.
Yeah, and 25 to 27. That's right. And so then, like any muscle, you've got to learn how to use it. So once it's developed, it doesn't mean you instantly, are you making good decisions? Then you got a few years, depending on if you're relying on substance, if you're, where you're at in life, before you actually start making conscious decision. So it seems like it just come along with the slap in the face with him, and it's just like, hold on, what have I been doing? And then he's made conscious choice to not promote substance. Like skateboarding is itself. You don't need to. It's addictive enough.
100% it is. And that's a big call, like from him in that scene, and just making that change, because there's so much of that influence around him, where the majority of his team is essentially all getting on it,
Yeah.
just riding the wave.
And so, and when you do cross, so to be good at anything, you have to hyperfixate. Be fixated on something. All the bigger brains over the last century, from documentation, they've all been someone that's that suffers from, you can say suffers from, but hyperfixation. So someone that fixates on something so much that they take it to the next level, and the next level, and the next level, and they're pushing forward. It's part of evolution. And so skateboarding, you need to do that to learn a trick, because as you know, a trick can take 150 times before you land it.
Yeah.
And it's just going back and doing it again, and in your brain going, I know where I did wrong, I know where I've got to do this, blah, blah, and all the variables that come up. So when you add a substance to people who hyperfixate, then they can go off into whole other spirals, and it becomes
it can be some dangerous dark holes.
It can, because it can, if you're not, if that part of your brain isn't developed yet, well, you don't even know yourself. And when you add substance to it, it definitely sends you into a place that you're not ready for.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then it's hard too, because a lot of skaters that are starting to, if they're developing, and if it's getting in from AM to pro, or if they're just showing prowess, it's before that age of 25.
Yeah, it's like around 20.
Yeah. You get to that bang, and then you've got everything around you, if it's money, fame,
Yep.
Influence, all that sort of shit. And then, and then you sort of want to keep up with the Joneses, or, party up because it might get you into a door or whatever it may be. And
Well, you think it does.
that's right, you think it does, exactly. That's a right way to put it, but essentially, that's just dragging you down a garden path that necessarily has got weeds on the other door, not, the stuff that you should be getting into. So
Exactly.
life, man. But in the experiences that you've been, and when you've been either overseas or on tours, or just what you've seen, what's that you've seen in person? Have you got memory of something that's just blown you away? Like, if you were just going to name one, if it was one person, one trick that you've seen in person that you've how did this happen? How or I should say, how he or she have made that happen? So,
I don't have a single one. I've been on thrasher trips with the best of the best, and I've judged skate comps of the Olympic level. So the technicality and the Gnar that I've seen on both sides is just I can't pick a single one. There's just so many great moments that I'm super happy for, and yeah, stoked about, really.
Levels are different these days, brother.
Yeah, they are. It's so good.
But just like I forget his name, not Gustavo. It's a dude from Portugal. He's sponsored by Red Bull, but just how he'll you're talking about a 10 stair,
Not Gustavo Ribeiro.
yeah, and
Yeah.
flip in crook,
Yeah,
flip and then flip out of the rail
yeah.
like a 10 stair.
Yeah, it's kicky crook and ollie flips, yeah.
Out, done. Thanks for coming. Well, that stuff wasn't even thought of way back when. So
There was a photo of him just yesterday doing a tray flip nose blunt, and I've seen him do tray flip nose blunt nollie heel on an 8 stair on a rail. That's insane.
that's wild, huh?
Yeah.
God, and that's probably just something he busts out after breakfast, eh?
Yeah, we did one warming up for Street League in Sydney last year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's just like,
I got a ticket for that this year, though. I didn't go last year. I want to go and suss it out this year. So I'm going to go down and get a good seat. So,
I'll be there.
yeah, you'll be there?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. And leading into that, mate, so let's look at, the next phase of, skating for you when it, where I want to tap into. So if we go into this other photo there, Mark, and we'll bring that up on the wall here. Wall, bloody TV. Come on, Jake, get it together. So your journey is sort of led up to where it is. It looks like this is a pretty important. You're on the red carpet, mate. Looking swish. There you got the award. It's all happening. So talk us where you've led up to, because obviously skating and that's got longevity in it, and you look at the next phase of life and where I've seen there's Grundy Skate Store, and just talk us through where that's led up to this. So you've got Grundy Skate Store and just where you had the physical store, but also what you've been doing with the teaching and everything else. So, and this next phase of Mr. Russell Grundy.
Oh, so this phase, I focus more on being involved with making sure everything's just good. I promote the sport as much as I can, and we do free lessons and free opportunity for people to give skating a crack if they've never tried it before. I also do a lot of just judging with events and things. Just like to make sure that promoting the sport, and I don't like things to not be how they should, in a sense. When it comes to the judging, some will be swayed because I have my mind. I don't care if you're my friend or you're my enemy. If you're skating better than the other person, you're skating better than the other person.
Like it should be.
Yeah, but
100%.
It's not. I've been part of so many panels, and you can see that it's not everyone's that way.
Really?
Yeah.
Even at the high levels and stuff?
Yeah, even when it gets to that, whether there's brands or there's something that person has done to them or said to them along the way, what they initially think of said person, it seems to come into play. And yeah,
That's
I know,
not right.
which is why I sit in the seats that I sit in. It's because, I keep that partial mind through it all.
Yeah, that's essentially how it should be. So, and that's good. And that's good for me to hear, good for other people to hear, because that's what you want to see at a professional judging level. You want to see that there's no bias, or whether that's how you feel towards a person, whether it's good or bad, or there's some sort of brand in the situation where, if you're looking at Street League, it's all Nike or whatever it may be now, or any of that sort of business. So So you're seeing that up at the top end of the scale too, yeah?
Yeah, I have.
That's a shame, man.
It is.
Yeah, yeah. So you're persevering down that judging route a lot still. If it's
Yeah.
even if it's see with Street League, will they hire local judges and stuff, or do they fly in their guys?
So they'll fly in some guys, but then they'll keep a local guy.
Is Kelly hard to judge with that Street League or no?
I think so.
Right.
Yeah. And they do their thing. Like, I wouldn't say that Street League do a bad thing at all. I've never been a part of their panel. But they always go with someone who's been like full pro in the streets, which is fine.
Sense.
Yeah, it does. Like,
You want that lived experience that's sitting behind the
Yeah.
judging panel.
exactly. And I don't know too much about their one exactly because they keep everything pretty tight, and that's fine. Like, they're doing their thing. It's cool. It's like you see the outcomes. It's epic. So yeah, and I like how they're different to the world skate stuff. Like, because they're not trying to be that Olympic thing. Do you know what I mean? They're trying to be their own, their own league in a sense, where it's not that. And when I see other things trying, they follow, then they're doing a good thing.
And yeah, that's good. And that's insane too, like just to see where skateboarding has grown. Like, did you ever think it was going to be an Olympic sport?
I thought that there was no reason for it to not be one, to be honest. But I couldn't say it was a dream of mine ever to be like, I want to be an Olympian. It's not like where my brain ever went with anything. Like, I got a skateboard at 15. I didn't think I was going to be traveling the world at 18. Like, it wasn't. It's just, I just went along, did a thing, said yes to a bunch of stuff, and went places and saw things and met people. It's great. So it's like, to see what it's evolved to, if anything, it's just good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's to be a part of it still.
100%. So is Mr. Russell Grundy, is he going to be judging at the Brisbane Olympics or what? Is that a goal?
That could be a possibility at this time. We'll see what pans out between now and then. But yeah, if that happens, that would be. We're judging on that scale. Yeah, once you turn 50, you can't judge anymore because you're too detached from your sport.
Really?
And I would turn 50 like a month after it.
No, that's bullshit. No, that's only a month, mate. You're still in the race.
No. I'm saying, but yeah, I would turn 50 after it.
Oh, no. You would turn 50, sorry, after it.
Just after it.
Sorry.
So it's like.
Not before.
So it does fit in my age bracket.
Good.
But.
Is that a straight up rule?
Yeah.
Unspoken or it's proper?
That's a proper thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I sort of get it, but the thing is, like...
But you can coach forever.
Yeah, I don't... How do you feel about that? Like, if you're still involved, like, say if you're still that age and you're coaching, you're still doing this, you still know how to do it, and you've physically ridden the board forever. How do you feel about it?
There has to be a time where it all, like, ends. So...
You think 50, though?
50's fine, but you can move on to other avenues. Like, that's when you can go on to coaching because you've been judging for so many years, you know exactly what needs to be done. So you can help the next people do their thing. Because you already know what's needed.
Yeah. I think Mr. Hawk will go and tell you to get stuffed. He's over 50.
Yeah, I don't think he judges that. He commentates. Commentates.
True.
Yeah.
Is that something you get involved in too, or you give a crack?
commentating.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think I have the voice for it. Like I can do it, but you know, as I feel there needs to be certain octaves that resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, for something like that. Just,
You got to try it. It's not because you got like a pretty calm, sort of smooth voice.
yeah, this
So
is
I
in
wouldn't,
this.
I wouldn't discount it. You don't need someone that, is just going to be barreling down the mic all the time.
This is this setting. I think that like if
Just having a chat.
because when I'm watching skating, I'm a bit more excited.
Yep, yep.
With the judging, like I can I'm really good at documenting. So while the tricks are happening, I can write down what's being done on what, where, while I'm taking it all in and scoring. So at the end of a run, you'll be able to see exactly what the run is from reading my notes. I think that's one thing that I have on most judges is not anyone that I've came across can actually fit every single trick in on a bit of paper while watching and then putting a number to it at the end.
Well, that's better. It's like you're doing your own analytics, but you got it in true form that's on paper. Mm-hmm. So you can't sort of, it's like, no, here's my bias. This is bullshit. It's all true to form. I've written it down.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. You can't dispute it. Thanks for coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's impressive. Yeah. It always is it pretty tricky though, like judge it when you first get into judging?
So it's like I've done a lot of events. When it comes to like junior tours, like World Cup events and all sorts of things like that I've competed in. If I wasn't a part of my event or watching everything there, I would be overwatching the other disciplines and being on the platform, everything.
On listening to them and stuff, yeah.
And just watching and understanding everything. When I first did judging, Sasha Steinhorst, rest in peace, he was World Cup skateboarding's head judge for like over a couple of decades, and he said, "Russ, I want to try you doing this," and he put me to work. Like he just added an extra person to the panel instead of relying on me as such, and put me into a discipline which I'm not known to be familiar with, and that was a bowl contest, and did it all. And then at the end of the day, like he sat down and it's the only time I've ever done this on a panel. They stuck us all separate around the bowl, individual. Told us all the task. We did the task. When it come to finals, he also sat there and judged for the finals, sitting separately from everyone. And then at the end of the day, got all our paperwork together and put his next to everyone's and goes, and I was pretty much nearly identical to his, and he had been doing it forever. And he goes, I want to use you for Bolorama. And
down at Sydney, Bondi.
Yeah, and got the organizer and was like, I want Russell to be a judge for Bolorama from now on. And he's like, but he's a street skater. And he's like, I don't care. Look at his numbers versus everybody else's to mine. I was like, this guy's on point. He's like, this guy knows what he's watching, and he's doing it right. So then I was a part of like every major panel in Australia, except for Street League in the last, whenever that started, like 2013 or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've been going hard in the paint on the judging panel scene there.
Yeah. So I've been a part of that and always was the youngest judge. Too, that was pretty funny. But that was it's something different.
Yeah. And there's a few coming up, is there? Like
don't know what's coming up.
comp wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Street League, put him on. October.
I'm pretty sure they would have their panel sorted.
Yeah.
But it's...
Be interesting to see how they do it though. Like if you could get, you know,
I
behind
have an understanding. When I sit there and like call the tricks, I'm pretty consistent with them as it is anyway.
Yeah.
Like I understand the conversations that are going on when it comes to panel talk, and we're all looking at the same stuff. So I'm never far off their scores when I'm sitting there watching it. Anyway, you know, be sitting home with a bunch of mates watching it live or whatever, and they'll just be like, yeah, 9.2, and it'll come up, and they're just like, man, that's fucked. How do you do that? I try and get it right down to the exact point. Sometimes it's pretty fun.
Yeah, get it on the money.
Yeah.
So that's a judging. So another element of skate parks, skate design.
Yep.
So what's been going on there? So you've been getting involved a bit and it's good to see you've been doing a lot of stuff up in your local community up Lake Macway. So what's been happening up there in Newcastle and everything else?
Yeah, so anything that I can sort of reach out to, I help design Batto Yard as well.
Did ya?
Yeah. Some of those like components.
That bowl's deep, man.
Well, not the bowl part. That's got nothing to do with me. That was Renton Miller.
I thought I thought he had something going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to hear that he's on the scene in respect to that.
Yeah, he does a lot of great bowl designs. That one I think he made to go like as fast and as high as that you possibly can. Like,
it's a dangerous looking thing, man.
Yeah, people skate it amazingly.
I know.
When you see some good pros hitting that thing, it's gnarly.
So our local Simon Dixon still getting amongst it, old Deca.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And so the like coming up with the design stuff, that's just once again want to make sure that the community gets like what's going to work and help the progression of the area, and create stepping stones, look at what else is around, and then try and make it so people can progress, without having to go super far. So
is it tricky because if you're trying to, because you're coming from the skateboarder perspective, but you got the bloody riser scooters and other, like, BMX has always been around for, forever as well, and they've always sort of been neck and neck with skateboarding because they obviously come in the Olympics as well, which is great. Like, it's always good to see diversity, but is it hard to sort of keep that in mind as well? But then a lot can sort of work with each other.
It just depends on what's going on within the area. Right, so what I've noticed is the further you get away from the beach, the more people get into bikes and things. So if you just think that the surf is a surfboard and then the mountains are a motorbike, okay?
Yeah, okay.
And then like the city itself that's close to the beach will be full of like skaters and people getting around that they can jump off their thing, hold their board when they go into a shop. Everything's real close in proximity. And the further you get out, the more it gets into handlebars because kids are traveling further to their friends' houses and everything's a lot further apart. So they're getting into the bikes and things like that. And
that's a good way to think about it. Yeah.
Well, that's just what I've kind of noticed over time.
Yeah.
So if you see these kind of realms where it gets out, and then if you have more transitional things like out west, more streety things closer to the park, but also have some transition close to the beach because surf is, like some good bowls and things as well.
Because you got that bowl at Newcastle there that's right near the water.
Yeah, and if you kind of look at it and space it out right, you can make everyone happy, have enough elements for it to all work, and then just keep flow going, but making sure that each park has something that's different for if someone wants to go to everything and learn and grow, progression. So it's kind of factoring in every skate park, what's around in certain distances and trying to create what's best for everyone.
That's awesome. Just taking in the local elements of what's where and, what people are into.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the award that we had up on the screen before? So what was going on,
That
on
was Sports Leader of the Year.
there? Yeah, right.
Yeah, for Lake Macquarie. So I do believe that is a first for skateboarding in our country to be recognised by the city as the leader of all sports.
Sports, like as in general, sports in general.
Yeah.
That's big, man.
Yeah. It's-
When you're looking at, if you think like what's on the table of sport in general,
Yeah.
and you're looking at Mr. Skateboarder here taking charge, like,
Yeah, so that had to do with me putting on those free events, doing the judging for the Olympics, designing local skate parks, and just generally like helping everything grow through every chance I can, using local sponsorship as well as like major ones as well. And
yeah, good on you, brother. That's awesome.
thanks.
No, that's good. It's just good to see, someone passionate about their local community and nurturing that, and where you can see, because you want to see the local individuals, like where they can take things to the next level. Like now you're looking at, skateboarding, and even though not everybody's thought that way, but skateboarding has always been a career factor for some, like any sport if you get to a certain level, because there's, serious dollars that can be made where people can be self-sufficient and look after themselves. Or if they go down different avenues, if it is skateboard design, judging, whatever, media, marketing, there's all sorts of stuff, because it's interesting, like just thinking of marketing now, I've seen like Louis Barletta's not obviously skating as much, but now he's still working for the brands that he rode for, but in marketing,
Yeah.
So it's still been in the mix, So yeah, obviously, because everybody's got to eat and keep a roof over their heads, and obviously you get older, family, kids, whatever it may be. So, but it's good still seeing people in the mix. So what's the next steps with yourself? Like in regards to skate, it's still trying to nurture and develop the local community. Is there any sort of skate park situations, like indoor parks or anything like that, or what's going on with yourself, brother?
Well, I did have an indoor park and closed in January just to the buildings getting knocked down to build apartments in Newcastle.
Damn, did you know that was coming up, or they just pulled it out?
No, they knew it was coming, but they still haven't knocked down the building yet. So we could still be in there. But it is what it is, It's just hard with a developing city like that. And when it comes to like having a lot of free facilities is a great thing. Like a lot of the new parks have lights and stuff. It's awesome. But then to try and create a business model where people have to pay to use a facility, it then makes that a lot harder.
Is it pretty tricky from your perspective, like from a business point of view, like running a skate park?
If you're going down that avenue, it's because we've got so many popping up, it's like, and they're so good too.
Yeah, okay.
That
a bit of competition there as well, yeah?
Well, it's just people just we have, it's 29 and fine all year round. So it's like, if we're in a place where it was like cold and windy or super hot or something like that, it'd be a different story. But, they're the...
You still got the elements to deal with though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But we're generally got good weather here compared to a lot of other places around the world and other things like that. And the city isn't millions and millions of people. I'm talking about 600,000-700,000, and so it's a different aspect altogether.
But Newcastle be a good spot though. Like the cities, like the growth and the trajectory in Newcastle is like shooting up. Even Lake Mac, like where I was looking at Charlestown Skate Park, and then I'm seeing all these units pop up. I'm like, that's hundreds of people. And then and I'm talking one person per apartment. If they got kids, you got this, and then if they're going to start developing at the skate park.
I am working on a facility with Alembic.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Rush Fields.
Yep.
And so it is 30,000 square meters.
Yep.
10,000 for skate. It's also going to have BMX, jumps, mountain bike trails, a scooter park, an indoor wave pool, like Ninja Warrior, one of those blow up, spaces.
Parks.
Yeah, for all the kids, like little kids.
Yep.
Roller skating, and a Texas steakhouse, and then some retail as well. So
Slow down, Russ. Come on, mate.
six half basketball courts as well.
Really?
Yeah.
They're going to town.
Yeah.
And a Lambicare.
Yeah, so it's a major project. We've been on this. We've been trying to work on this since a couple of years before COVID. COVID, stopped everything because, they had to figure out, okay, what's going on, what's happening, doing a facility where people can't even go near each other. Like, what do you do from here? Like, blah, blah, blah. They didn't know the future. So, heels went into the sand. But now, where everything is, the balls are rolling again, and it's moving. So this will be a state of the art facility that's nowhere like it in the Southern Hemisphere. So it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Jesus, that sounds pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that will have every action sport, along with some extras in there.
So did you say a date again?
What's that?
Did you say a date on the timeline on when you reckon it might? Did they allude to anything? Maybe that's hard though. Like, there's a lot going on.
There's just so much. So
2 years away.
I don't have an exact thing, but when building starts, it'll probably take a year from building. There's already it's in Warners Bay.
Yep.
Yeah, so the top of Lake Macquarie.
Yep.
On the property, on the part, they've acquired 5 buildings. It's right there near a whole bunch of other stuff. It'll be epic. And, I can't wait for that to come into fruition.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's massive.
That is massive. And you got a firm hand in there in what you're going to be doing in regards to design and just helping that nurture and grow, yeah?
Yeah, being a part of that project is, that should be a good thing.
God, it's going to be I think a facility and breeding ground for future Olympians, hey?
Well, that's also possibility. Like if the facilities, the idea is to have a place that anyone can come and push their limits and not be restricted by the facility. So
and financial means and all that sort of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, just it all being there and being able to develop yourself to be able to take it anywhere, whatever you want to do with it.
Bloody hell, people will be coming from all over.
That's the idea because that's what we're lacking here in Australia. So one thing that
proper facilities like
we have great facilities in Australia.
Yeah.
But everything's an individual type of thing. And when you think of the Olympic stuff, it's to certain standards and it's a certain structure. And we have nothing to meet those criteria.
Yeah, right. Okay.
We have nothing in our country to meet the criteria for the Olympic standard.
Really?
Yep. Even with all the new parks.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even thought, if you're looking at, especially the ones down at Olympic Park in Sydney, if you're looking at Monster and all that sort of stuff, you'd think they'd step it up.
No one has.
Right.
And
So you're going to dial that in.
yeah, by using hopefully the people that currently do stuff with the Olympics to make it all work.
Is accommodation going to be tied to it?
There will be for those who need to, for long-term stay and for like
Well, that's what I was thinking. If they're flying into Newcastle and want to camp up for 2 weeks, you know what I mean?
yeah, and we can have camps and stuff like that when it comes to school holidays.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like if it's multi-use, if it's camps for either, pros, people learning, having all those different looks to it. But then if you got people that want to fly in and they got to dial in routines,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and a place that when like tours come through, they have a place to stay.
Yeah, that's smart. That's interesting. That's good to know, though. Yeah, just let us know when that's kicking off. That's awesome. Hey, and Mark, what's going on? I don't know if you know much about this one. When's the Woi Woi one kicking off?
Should be early August. Early August.
Did you know about? Have you seen what's going on down in the peninsula on Woi Woi? The skate park kicking off there.
You minor?
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanna.
I was just
Yeah,
shooting.
the fences come down yesterday.
Yeah, Mark over he's been doing the photography and videography for it down there.
Yeah, see.
Yeah.
I was thinking about going there tomorrow, to be honest.
Yeah, you'll love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty big. Yeah, go sneak ab.
Yeah. I saw fences down yesterday. I was like, well, it's worth going to check it out.
Yeah.
So it might as well.
Yeah. Do you know you don't know the official date, do you?
No, I don't think the actual official date's done yet. So we're still
Yeah.
waiting.
Well, it's good though. Like the more the merrier. Like it's another outdoor facility, but it looks pretty massive bowl, actual
Yeah.
skate, street skate section and whatnot. But high tide raises all canoes, brother.
That's it.
We got to feed the beast when it comes to just building up our local areas and stuff. And the peninsula, like it's its own, and especially like I'm thinking younger people, like people that don't drive, it's not so easy to get in and out of. And you probably would see that up like Mac area too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like a lot of trains and whatnot. So
Yeah, no, your miner's going to be stoked.
yeah.
It's what, the third or fourth time they've upgraded that park?
All right.
They used to just add to it
Yeah. It's got a few facelifts. Yeah.
over time.
So who are you seeing on the rise at the moment when it's got to do with some of our Australians? Like if I'm seeing, it's not really Olympic style, but if I'm looking at, that Bobby Pace, man, like,
Yeah, we got
Jesus.
something going on around here. So like you got Rob's definitely made it so the rail to rail stuff is like, but he was always doing that at Slam Factory. He'd set up, you get the handrail that go across and down, then he would set up rails after rails after rails.
so is he from the coast or what?
Yeah,
Fucking hell. I thought so because I saw a clip of him and I'm like, that's wild. That's here.
yeah,
That's there.
He's
And
from around here.
really?
Yeah,
And he's killing it.
yeah, he is. It's funny. And then you got Rowan Davis, who went pro for girl, and he's from Newcastle.
Ah, right.
So it all seems to be happening, from, Newcastle, Sunny Coast.
Yeah.
The ones which are really standing out, those guys that aren't really from the big cities, which never has
That's
been a
good,
thing.
though. No.
Yeah. The last person that really done it that wasn't from a big city was Dustin when he was from the Blue Mountains.
Yeah, true. Yeah, out that way. Yeah, right.
If you think about it. Oh, Matt Mumford, Rockhampton. So, but he's a little bit before Dustin, I want to say.
Yeah, well, Chad Barty, he was from...
The Goldie, so that's kind of a big city, I reckon.
Yeah, true.
It's the biggest
Well, it's
city
bigger than
that's
here.
not a capital in
Yeah,
Australia.
yeah, agree. Yeah, it's, pretty big hub there too, so...
Yeah,
But,
with all the big industry there. So
Bobby Pace, Central Coast.
yeah,
Thanks for coming. Yeah, right, okay. Nah, because he's killing it. Seen him on, getting involved with the Thrasher stuff and that. It's just nuts.
yeah,
What he's doing in the States. So are they looking after him over there and with his sponsors and stuff? I know he's not
I think
in
he's-
America anymore.
No, he just goes back and forth from here to there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that he goes over there for more trips and stays, and then he doesn't live there type of deal.
yeah.
But yeah, he's pro for Santa Cruz now, and all that stuff's working out for him, which is good to see.
Yeah. Nah, good on him, man. And it's good to see like a lot of the Aussies adding. Like one of my personal favourites is Mr. Shane O'Neill, just technician.
Yeah.
So seeing him over in Paris there, so I'm looking forward to it and just seeing mate, just what he can, not just what he can wield on a board, but just that dude has got style for days.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm going to be up watching it tomorrow night, that's for sure.
Oh, is that when it kicks off tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's like 7:30.
Yeah.
You can watch it on Stan or 9. And then that's the prelims, and then the actual competition starts at midnight here.
Yeah,
So-
okay.
So that's the men's street,
Yep.
I do believe. Yeah, is the first event. And then the following day is the female street, Sunday night. And then men's park and female park the following days. Going off memory. But yeah, tomorrow going to try and rally a few friends over, come have some drinks,
Nice.
sit back, big screen.
Yeah, 100%.
I used to, my friend used to run a pub, and we used to put all the big events on the big screen there and get everyone to go to the pub.
Yeah,
But
right.
It no longer has that, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to have to make it in my house.
100%. But it's good to see that there's a lot of good males and females either in the bowl or on the street now,
Yeah.
which is good.
Right now we have Arissa True from the Gold Coast, and excuse me,
Oh, good dude.
she's the first girl to do a 900, and she's like won a couple of the park events just recently. She's did a lot of training with Trevor Ward from Level Up,
Oh, yeah.
so that's definitely helped progress the sport when it comes to that. And so we got a few girls in the park which look like that they are going to do well for our country. It's going to be great. We've got Keegan Palmer in the male
He
park.
kills it in the
Well,
bowl, man.
Yeah, him and Kieran Woolley. Kieran Woolley's my...
I love the stuff that guy does.
I love the way that, Kieran skates. And
100%.
another way, Keegan has his lines dialed to where he does what, gets the scores as well.
Yeah, he's almost like robotic in a sense.
Yeah, kind of like, but I just love the way that Kieran skates.
I know.
It's
Just
just
the
a
flow.
different type. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love it.
Just like raw, but
Yeah.
raw but smooth.
That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then female street got Chloe Cavell and Liv Lovelace.
Yeah,
And
Chloe, she's a young blonde girl from up north, yeah?
Yeah, up on the busy way too.
Yeah,
And
she's killing it. And she does those 50-50s kickies out on...
Round
she's small,
round.
and she's pretty small.
Yeah, that was heavy to see that at Street League. And then in the street, yeah, we got Shane O'Neill and Tommy Finn. I don't know if Rome Collier made it, but he's a force to be reckoned with for the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's I think we're sitting pretty good. Like, I can see us quite possibly we're going to get podium through at least 3.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
And
A lot of the Japanese come through strong. You've seen
I
a
don't
lot
even
of
think
technicians, eh? It's almost like unfair.
I've got.
Yuto.
There was a couple of people saying that Budapest was like we're not going to see any higher than that, but I think that's underestimated. I think that there was things being held back for the Olympics, and because Budapest was the last one, and what you had was like 5 Japanese guys trying to go for 3 spots. Yeah, and that's why they were going all in. They were all going, but I just reckon that we're going to see something else when
Yeah.
it comes to tomorrow.
Yeah.
Everyone wants that number 1 spot.
Yeah, no matter what country you're from. So, but the Japanese will go pretty hard. So, because if they've already taken, the podium in the first Olympics, they're going to want to hold that standard.
Oh, 100%. And the level that they're on. Yeah, so I reckon they'll do good in men's street and female park. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, well, female street as well. Yeah, true. Yeah, I think that they're possible. 3 podium and 3 disciplines as well.
Yeah. It's wild, huh? Going back to what's happening now compared to when we started skating, it's just different. But it's good to see those avenues, that just the acceptance of it, I think, like on this level, which is, that's what I like to see, like overall, and not just in Australia, but just overall the community throughout, different nations and the progression.
Well, I think that it's just like with that, the acceptance that you bring up is, so, we're at an age now where everyone that we've grown up with or known knows what a skateboard is or had one. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And same with our parents. They used one or something as they were kids. Our grandparents, not so much. But, in my life, I don't have any grandparents left. So it's just generational. Like, it's been around long enough so people know that it's a thing. And that stigma is being lost because it's almost being bred out in a sense, you know what I mean? The skateboard's been around for that long. Everyone's seen what it is, whether it's from Michael J. Fox in 1985, getting towed behind a car, and Back to the Future to what it is today.
We'll get a skateboard that floats one day, all good.
Yeah. That one, have you seen them? Have you seen them do that?
I saw Tony on some...
Yeah, on a copper half pipe.
Yeah, and I'm like, how does that... It's something to do with the magnetism of opposing magnets. I don't know the tech behind it, but it was nuts.
Yeah, but I just don't understand, because you have no rail, you got nothing to grab to turn properly, you know what I mean? So it's like you just kind of got to stand. It sounds crazy. It just looks crazy.
I don't understand the mechanics of it, but one day we'll work it out. But, brother, that's what I've been fascinated with as well, because have you ever talk me about the Sk8 Mafia family and the affiliation. Like, I love the stuff. Like, on the studio at home, I've got a Martin Luther King board throwing up the Sk8 Mafia sign and up on me wall. Love that board. But, talk us through Sk8 Mafia and what's going on there. Just the love for it or what?
Yeah. Just I lived in San Diego for a few years, and that's primarily where they are. I've known Wes for 20 years now, and we've stayed Wes Kramer.
Yeah.
And
he's an awesome skater, man.
Yeah, we rode for some brands together and do a lot of traveling, and any time that we possibly can, try to spend time with each other if we're on the same continent.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's just one of my long-term friends, and the guys are just like family to us. Then, you've got the real ones in your life, and it's just the homies. Yeah. And that's kind of what it represents. Is like back in the day, a lot of brands, they were like people that skated together and did everything together. And I think along the way, you look at companies now and it's not really that. They have a guy from over here and over here and over here and over here and over here, and then they skate with each other for tours. Where the Mafia seems to still be just the homies, in their city.
That's good, like keeping that core.
Yeah.
And that is still be a skater-owned business too, yeah?
Yes. Yeah. It's all the homies.
Yeah. Throw it up, brother. Yeah. And that's what that's what, I do love, is the skater-owned stuff. And that's what I do miss. Like, if you go into, a skate shop these days and you look at the shoe wall, and it's not like what it used to be with a lot of the skater-owned brands. Yeah,
no, a lot of them's gone. And I think also, what the Sk8 Mafia represents is just, that global community with skateboarders, how we all have a general interest. We all care for one another, and we're all doing the same thing. So it's like, even this morning I was looking through people going to, over to Paris and that, and there was like Tom Shah was throwing up a Sk8 Mafia in it. It's like, it's not only people that necessarily right for it. Like, so many people, it's just skateboarding. You know what I mean? It's just,
yeah,
everyone's just a huge family.
it's the essence of skateboarding and what it represents.
It is.
The core individuals, but also the community, eh?
Yeah, it's just is what it is. It's the love.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, well, brother, I think it's good leaving it on that note. Is there anything else you wanted to throw in the atmosphere, like what you're involved in, apart from this crazy thing that's going to kick off at Lake Macquarie with, with all the Olympic standard stuff? But what else are you up to, man? What's going on? And how's just general family life and stuff going, man?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, at the moment, the focus is just my kids, and I've been taking a bit of me time lately. Like, and I just felt like I needed it after going through some things over the last, 6 months or so. And lately, I've just been spending time with my kids and, skating a bit more, enjoying myself, and just working on that headspace stuff we were speaking of earlier. You got to do that. Like, every now and then, you got to bring yourself to a place of just, chilling. That's what I've been doing now. I'm going to start focusing on future projects again, like in the next couple of months, and continue on with that thing with Lambie, and just right now, I'm just trying to chill a bit. I think for a bit there, I put too much on my plate.
Yeah. I think we all do that at some time, man. But then it's not a bad thing. It keeps you busy, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm just a little over busy.
Yeah. Well, Russ, brother, really appreciate your time. And if people want to get in contact with you, like whatever, if it's email, socials, or anything like that, do you want to just throw it out in the atmosphere, man?
Yeah, just hit us up on socials, either Grundy Skateboarding or Grundy Russell. Like, either's fine. That's on, I have that on Facebook, is Grundy Skateboarding, and Instagram, and then Grundy Russell's my Instagram. So yeah, hit us a link if you need anything.
That's it. Hit the man up. There's some big plans coming up on the horizon. So, brother, appreciate it. Look forward to the next catch up, especially with this thing popping up in Lake Mac, yeah?
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for having us. I love what you got going on here. This is epic. Keep up with the good work, brother.
Cheers, brother. We'll keep the wheels turning.
No worries.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.
Good catch up with Mr. Grundy. Haven't seen him in years, and it's awesome to see how he wants to elevate skateboarding in his community and what the impact can be nationally or internationally with that news that he had at the end. Solid work. And if you like the podcast, hit that subscribe or follow button. And we've also got a Patreon page. The link is within the description. So if you want to roll with the squad and become a patron, that'd be great. And if you want to get in contact with me, you can get me via Instagram at streetrollandcheetah or email, one word, streetrollandcheetah@gmail.com. I've got a Facebook page, Keep Rolling with Jake Briggs. I'm on LinkedIn, Jake Briggs. I want to thank our sponsors, Permanbil Australia, the greatest electric wheelchairs in the land. Wouldn't be sitting in anything else but these 4 wheels right here, and they've got great assistive tech also. So righto, see you on the next one.